Okay, so hi everyone. Welcome to Miss Sparkle Nation 2020 Queens, 2022 Queens Cyberbullying Basics. So this is our last session, our last episode with MS Miss Sparkle Nation 2022 Annette, and with me Miss Sparkle Nation International 2022, and we will be talking about a workplace. So that is a bit of a overwhelming subject. So we're just gonna get started. Slideshow. Okay, where is it? Yeah, from the beginning. So first of all, this is about workplace, and this is by MS Miss Sparkle Nation 2022 Annette, and by me Miss Sparkle Nation International 2022 Hunyah. And so what is Sparkle Nation? So as we discussed earlier, the Sparkle Nation, and this is from our founder and CEO of Sparkle Nation LLC, it is to inform, empower, and to shine sparkle in all areas. It is for anyone to feel the recognition and the light in adversity, and also for anyone ages 1 to 101 and beyond. It's about acceptance, self-worth, enabling, and women across the globe to sparkle for the nations. And we continue to do so through workshops for children. And our CEO has a background in elementary education for over 10 years. And she's also a TikToker, a YouTuber, so she does tons of different things. So the first thing is, does working somewhere can mean you could get bullied there? Yes, it can. And it could be depending on company culture, employer, employees, and how you balance work and life. And anything you want to add? I think you have more work experience than I do.
Yes, working in an environment, all of these things that you have listed, yes, they are, or they can be, in the workplace. Again, it depends on, also the environment, also if, it's a very competitive field that you're working in, depending on how long you've been with the company, some of the, seniors might be a little bit more competitive and feel a little bit more threatened by the new people that come in, and they tend to kind of like, quote unquote, mark their territory, so to speak, or try to make sure that a person doesn't feel secure in their job position.
I've been dealing with that actually. Like about 2 years ago, I used to work like with my mom, and I kind of knew people. So for 8 years, like I did volunteer work. And the last 2 years, I've been just doing different jobs, and some of them were under the same person that my mom works with.
Mm-hmm.
Suddenly, I started to get success on my own, and then I eventually had to quit because I wasn't feeling like I was having a good time at the same place where I used to work with my mom. So I eventually just getting different jobs on my own, and that's what made me better, because it's like, why be in a place if suddenly your coworkers cannot be happy for you. So
right.
And anything you want to add too from your experience?
Yeah, I once worked in what I call it low key hostel, where it's not really, visible as a typical hostel environment would be. It was more low key from, one employee and one employer. And it got so bad to the point where, they had transferred me to a different floor because she was just, she appeared professional, but certain comments that she would make, or she was very passive aggressive, and she kind of just wanted to put like her stamp on the environment that she has been there the longest, and she has all this experience under her belt. But as soon as someone else, not even me especially, but if someone else got like employee of the month, or some type of recognition, she was very low-key catty.
I agree. I've dealt with one like that. Actually, I'm still dealing with even now, different ways. So it's like she just tells people to call me and just to send me in direct messages. That's what's been going on. So I'm like, you know what? My job is done from there. I moved on about 2 years ago. I don't see why she can't find another employee. And if she wants to, she has to give it to me in writing that, okay, you're still employed. She hasn't given that. She's just, telling people to call me. That's like immaturity. Like, that's like,
Right.
That's like what you're doing, like when you're like in grade 8 or like grade 7, 8, or 9. Is like you tell your friends to call out a person, and then they like this. It's like exactly the same thing.
Yeah, it's horrible. And it can be even like little low key passive aggressive like insults or sending things like in the emails. And it's just not necessary.
And what causes workplace harassment and workplace bullying? That is understaffing, job insecurity, poor working conditions, gender inequality, client characterizes work culture, job factors, and external factors. And I think we've all been there.
Yes, actually, where people felt like their job was in jeopardy because, for example, in the same place, I was the new face. So of course, the lady who'd been there the longest, she felt like her job position was, in jeopardy when it wasn't. I mean, there's enough work to go around. Not so much gender inequality, but other things such as work culture, especially external factors, and even yes, at one point it was just even racially divided as far as her and I go. She made an inappropriate comment about my children because my children are of mixed descent. And, that's when I had to be transferred to a different floor because I did report her to, HR, but she was able to kind of smooth her way out of it
The one
to where she didn't get fired.
She does run the HR, but suddenly she started picking on me by saying to me about this is that policy, this is that policy. And due to the point she commented on my Facebook on a chicken sandwich photo saying it is our company's policy, but it's just a chicken sandwich photo. So I'm like, where is her mind gone? So it was that stupid. That's why I had to just block her right away. Like that's what.
Oh my goodness. I had to block her off of my Facebook, and she would just make just unnecessary comments, that didn't even have anything to do with the job, which is that brings in point number 8, external factors. It's like it doesn't have anything to do with the job. You have no place in saying something like that, but yet you're doing it to make me feel uncomfortable and question my abilities in the workplace.
That's exactly what happens. What I've dealt with is like, okay, the thing was only supposed to be for that year, for up to those years. It's supposed to be 9 to 5. That's it. The workplace policy doesn't come in after 5 o'clock. It's whatever you do. And she was like trying to make it every single thing I do with my review video, this and that, into this policy, that policy. I'm like, I had to tell my mom. I'm like, she lost her mind because she commented on a chicken sandwich photo. It is our company's policy. I'm like, what does that have to do with anything to do with the company? I'm enjoying the chicken sandwich. Let me enjoy it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and it's hard. And even with social media, it kind of like blurs the line of after, work, life. It's like, okay, I know I represent your company, but I also have a life, and I'm not doing anything that is tarnishing your company or speaking bad of the employees. Exactly. I'm being attacked and singled on by one person.
True. And the other thing is, it's like, it's not like one person. I actually took this one employment training a few years ago, and she told me this really, really important thing. She's like, what? Never ever keep your employers on your Facebook or on your social media. They will be problem. And that's exactly what I saw that coming. That's why I had to delete that a person from there. I'm not going to say who. The ones who are saying it, they know who I'm talking about, but I don't want to say it. But I delete that woman off because of the way how she commented and suddenly started saying policy. I'm like, okay, what? I don't care about your policy. My contract ended, so I'm done with the policy. It doesn't apply to me.
Right.
It keeps happening again and again. And then my brother's like, okay, so what is she, like 12 that she's telling this person that person to call me? Like it's
unfortunate how people can just revert to just belittling or just being mean, and it has nothing to do with your job professionally.
True. And I think Annette, would you like to talk about the workplace harassment definition?
Sure. Workplace harassment is the belittling or aggressive behavior directed at an individual worker or a group of workers, which definitely has happened to me. In that was literally my last office job. That's my second to last office job right before the pandemic. And I was with that company where I was, having these targeted bullying for 6 years. And I didn't even work in the same department as her. I started at the same department as her, but then I got transferred out of it, like kind of a mini promotion. and she would still, harass me. It was literally like the polar opposite of where I started, and she felt, threatened. So I worked in a totally different department doing totally different things, and she still tried to find a way to harass me.
I know what you mean, because that's the thing. I was in a similar situation. With me, I got transferred because she was working at other companies. She wanted to transfer me, but okay. But when that whole thing was done, she still had nothing else to do except for trying to make everything about her policy and stuff. So that's the same
Right.
thing with coming into workplace harassment. And I actually checked with 2, 3 places like on my own that was outside of the place that actually, because like it's supposed to be legal, but I'm going there, so I can't ask anyone in there. But it's like I found out
Mhm.
on my own that okay, that's against employment standards in Canada. She cannot do that if she's doing this outside the workplace kind of stuff, telling people to call me. That's against it. You're not supposed to be doing that. So that's where a little bit of the legality. So,
And there were meetings involved, and finally, she was told, just stop, just leave her alone.
like with like now, like the thing is, everyone tries to address her, but she still doesn't get it. So it's like unless like I've told my mom before, I'm like, why don't you all like get together and then tell her that okay, like your way and all of this, and especially like targeting me, just because I used to work with my mom for a while, and I got on my own route, and then I got all these other stuff now. So then it's like she like someone should address to her, but every time someone addresses to her, she starts fake crying, like she fakes everything. So it's like addressing to her, she'll never admit her mistake.
Oh my
And
goodness.
so the next is workplace violence, and that is that it could be occupational violence that could refer to any form of physical abuse, threat, risk of health and safety of the employee. So anything you want to add into that from your previous?
Workplace violence, yes, it's definitely on the forefront now more than it has been before. And it's unfortunate because, everyone feels like they have to be the best at what they do. And there's nothing wrong with having that type of drive or motivation. Sometimes people take it to a place of, towards violence because they feel threatened. And then they pass that threat on to who they're targeting. And it can just create such a toxic work environment that unfortunately there are instances that people have snapped. And,
It
I
becomes
think that companies should offer some type of mental health support within just like outside of what their health benefits that they offer the employees through insurance, but they should have something internally to always have a place where workers can talk to someone and feel safe about it within the workplace.
I agree on that. Because it's like it's the same thing as domestic violence, but it's like workplace violence. So it's like you're not good in either places if you're dealing with both of the same things.
Correct.
Yeah. And okay, let me get to the next slide. So how to prevent workplace violence and workplace harassment. That is, analyze your workplace, create a supportive environment, offer a communication and empathy training, establish a clear workplace violence policy, commit to a non-violent workplace, and train employees to recognize warning signs, and create action plans shared with employees and practice. So I think all of this should be applied. What do you think?
Yes, I think all of these points should be in every type of work environment, no matter how big or how small the company is, because again, you're dealing with a lot of different personalities. Some people take their home situations to work, or their work situations to home, or they look for work to try to find an outlet of what's going on in their lives. And that's where the lines can get blurred. And I always am a big supporter of, mental health therapy, supportive, a healthy way to just kind of defuse situations. And unfortunately, I think it fell by the wayside for a while, that now, it's back, and it's harder now to kind of put out the flames because you have the pandemic, and then what goes on, in the home, a lot of the unhealthy actions of being at home with your family, those calls skyrocketed, but now they're being thrown back into the workplace. And, still a lot
I
of
agree.
places work from home and they're trying to
Don't
bridge
bring
that.
workplace to
And
home and don't bring home to your workplace. I agree. Yeah,
yes,
because that's the thing. That's why I noticed it. Like, even when it comes to social media, you're bringing your workplace to your house. It's like, it's better to avoid that for a reason.
yes, yes. And I've had a few slip ups where I've brought work, home. Even when I work from home, it's like, oh my goodness, what a hard day. And, but then,
I
I just
agree.
recognized that I was feeling overwhelmed. I used my coping tools that I had, and that's what is lacking in the workplace. Whether if you work from home, you go
You need a
outside
mental
to
health
work.
support in there. Like that's pretty.
A lot of people need that, that coping toolbox. And I think that's what, workers are now trying to implement, but it's so hard because a lot of people mentally are just all over the place. And there's nothing wrong with being mentally all over the place. We're humans, but it just escalates to the point where someone will get triggered, and unfortunately things happen.
Yeah. And thank you. I think it's been a amazing conversation discussing this, because I feel like a lot of people do often experience it, and maybe just like how domestic violence increased in the pandemic, maybe workplace harassment has increased, but it's more like remotely. So it's the same thing as cyberbullying in a way.
Yes.
And yeah, and I agree with all your points. And everyone, so thank you so much for joining MS Miss Sparkle Nation 2022 Annette, and me, Miss Sparkle Nation International 2022 Hunyah, for all the sessions on cyberbullying basics. We will be crowning the next Sparkle Nation Queens 2023 this I believe next week. So looking forward to see what the new queens do. And anything you want to add, Annette?
Yes, it has been an absolute pleasure being a part of your cyberbullying monthly specials and just getting to know you and your audience. It's just been a great experience, and I can't wait to see what the next chapter brings and how you and I are going to incorporate that in the future.
I can't wait either. Okay, thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.